Morning, you guys. I am so sorry that I'm coming to you from my messy office, but I have a family thing that I end up having to go to on Friday, so I am not going to be able to join you guys at UOMA. That makes me super sad. So let's go to the video. There we go. And let's talk about books instead. Okay, so here we are. As always, I'm going to start out with a plea that if you're interested in being a reviewer and helping us get through all of these books, I would love to have you. This is the elementary session of Kiss the Book, and there are always more picture books that need to be reviewed. So there's my email address. You can just send me a message, and I will be happy to send you the information about becoming a reviewer. Now, on your list for the book frenzy, I've included every single book that we thought was an essential purchase for our elementary schools. So if you see the daisy symbol on your handout, those, oh, yeah, so the daisy symbol that you'll see on your handout, those particular books should be available to purchase at the conference today. I had to choose those earlier. They're still on my top 50. They may not necessarily be my top 10 anymore because, we always discover new books, but at least there'll be some books for you here to buy. I would also go talk to the distributors at Follett and Rainbow and Bound to Stay Bound. And they should also be able to help you purchase any of the books off the list that you're interested in getting. So as I was saying, all the books that are rated essential for elementary school are on the handout that you've been given. I'm just going to be talking about my top 50 are the ones that are in bold. So we better get started so I can get finished before the next bell rings. So if we're going to start out with our early reader books. These are for kids who are transitioning out of picture books into independent reading. So first off, we have Nail Needs Help. This is the Fix It series. This is a series that is brand new. And this one is about Nail, who is stuck. He is so stuck and he cannot get himself free of Mr. Board. And so all of his different friends come and try in their own different way to help him get him unstuck. What's really cool about this book, besides the cute personification of the different tools, is that it is all about problem solving and working together. But it's done in a way where it is not pedantic. And instead, lets the kids see how all the tools are working together and trying to help rescue Nail. Next, we have a new series called The Dog and Pony Show. This is Dog. We Are Up a Tree. You can see that this is by Jeff Mack, who has done other books already that I've enjoyed. Horse and dog, for some strange reason, want to climb up a tree. Dog goes first, and they, of course, automatically get into trouble. Not only are they stuck in the tree, but it's starting to snow. The fun thing about this is called a series called My First Graphic Novel. And so it also includes instructions on how to read a graphic novel for those who have not started reading them yet. The full color pictures are adorable. It's good for reading aloud. It would be fun to be read as a pair with dog being one student and horse being another. Lots of really fun things that you could do with this particular book. Okay, next up we have our chapter books, a little bit longer than our early readers, but not yet quite yet a new novel. This particular series, Dollar for Donuts, has a really interesting and fun purpose for it. It is to teach economics, but it doesn't teach economics in a really preachy kind of way. It just shows what happens. So our main character is Julian, who's 10 years old, and he manages to ruin the brand new blender um, that that their cooking club has. So he and the club members have to figure out how to raise the money to replace this banner. Sorry, a banner, not the blender. And so they learn about budgeting, they learn about what actually profit means, but the whole thing's done in a way that will never feel like it's just a book about how to save money. My next series is called The New Batch. You may already have the Cupcake Club in your library. The New Batch stars the younger siblings or younger friends of some of the original members of the Cupcake Club. In this case, we have Emily, and her stepsister is Katie, who is part of the Cupcake Club. So Emily is going to a brand new school and she's worried. And so Katie sends her to school with two cupcakes. And hopefully she will eat one and share one with a friend. And so you're just going to have to read the book to know whether Emily is actually able to find herself a new friend. Coco Simon, as you probably already know, was really skillful as an author. There are lots of emotional layers going on in this book with a divorce, with a step family, with going to a new school. And it shows children who are learning that they can do hard things, and that they can choose to be happy or not. There's delightful diversity in the illustrations of the books. So hopefully your students will enjoy this. And then we have the first book, in which I hope is a new series, but I don't know for sure. This is about panda and squirrel. You can kind of see them way up there on the top of the rocks there, lounging together. And this first book is 9 short stories all about panda and squirrel and their friendship. They have disagreements, they have arguments, they have challenges, but all along the way, they're so grateful for the friendship between the two of them. If you have Frog and Toad at your school, Panda and Squirrel would be a delightful new pair of friends to add to your collection. Now we're moving on to long nonfiction. I have some really great new series for you. First of all, we've got the Abdo encyclopedias. Oh, you can't see the word Abdo here. Let me move this. There we go. The Abdo encyclopedias. Now, Abdo, has in the past been a little iffy on their quality. Let's just be honest here. But they have really hit the spot with these new series of encyclopedias. They are wide-ranging in topic, as you can see from the 3 that I put up there on the screen for you. They are delightful. I had one copy of the Taylor Swift Eras Tour encyclopedia, and I went ahead and bought 2 more because that particular one is so popular. They are very teachable for the students, but they are just fun to read. And so I bought not quite every single one of them, but I have a lot of them. Remember, I teach middle school, and so they'll definitely be on range for your elementary schools. And I'm even going to show them to the high school teachers because I think that their students would enjoy them a lot too. So look it up, Abdo Encyclopedia, and look at all of the different series and titles that they have available. Okay, next we have Can't Get Enough Horse Stuff from National Geographic Kids. These is 128 pages, chock full of everything that you probably ever wanted to know about horses. There are diagrams, there are photographs, there are drawn illustrations, fun facts, puns, history of the origin of horses, just so much stuff for anyone who might be horse crazy. Next, we have a dinosaur a day. Now, I have to be honest, I had no idea that there were actually 365 different kinds of dinosaurs. And there are more than that. But dinosaurs have never been my thing. So here we have not just one dinosaur every day, but there are several days, many days where it's talking about kinds of dinosaurs, and so you have groups of dinosaurs and their information. Everything is done in a way where it is short explanations on the pages with the dinosaurs. It has a modern feel to the illustrations. There are statistics. There's information about the different time periods that the dinosaurs lived, their family. And so it would be kind of fun to set out on a display and turn maybe a page every day so that your students can see what is today's dinosaur. Now, for your younger readers, these Do You Know series that comes from, Candlewick, I believe it is, Twirl, I think is Candlewick. These would be for your younger students, so like your second, third, fourth graders, kind of like the Abdo encyclopedias. There aren't as many of these yet. I'm hoping that they'll release two or three more of them every year. These are not all that are available, so that would still be a really great series for you to look up and see which ones you think that your younger students might be interested in. And then we have Mysterious Glowing Mammals, which is a smaller nonfiction book at 56 pages, but it's a great look at the concept of bioluminescence and the animals that are bioluminescent and why they glow and what the glowing does for them. They are really pretty fascinating. Those of you whether your students are interested in the science behind it, or if they're just interested in animals, then this is a longer, almost a nonfiction picture book read, but there is way more information on the page than you would want for a book that you might want to really read aloud for your students. It also includes experiments on bioluminescence and talks about different kind of light and how those different kinds of light reflect things differently. Okay, moving on to our novels. So many good novels here this year. I had so much fun reading. Okay, first off, we have And Then Boom. Oh my gosh. Joe is 11 years old and he has been through a lot. He knows that the best thing about a movie or about a comic book are the when something's going along and then boom. But he doesn't really want that kind of thing in his own life. He and his grandmother lived together in a gingerbread storybook house, like house. It's the two of them cozy together, and then his mom gets arrested. And boom, they lose the house. Joe and Grandma are living in the car because Mom has skipped her bail. And it's only through the kindness of one of Joe's friends that they find a place to live in the local mobile home park. But as things are just getting back on their feet, boom, Grandma becomes sick. Joe's only 11 years old. He is trying to figure out how to feed himself. He is trying to figure out how to do his laundry. He is trying to figure out how he can get away with all of this without anybody finding out because he doesn't want to end up in foster family. Um, it really doesn't matter how old Joe is in this book. Um, except that there is a heart-wrenching scene right near the end of the book where it drives home what a small 11-year-old Joe actually is. I've read it twice myself. I have not gotten tired of it. It also is a great look at the importance of kind, loving, caring foster families and what they can do for someone whose heart is breaking because they can't be with their own family. Now, technically, the Frindle Files is a secret, but it's been a long time since the original came out in 1996. This action focuses on Josh, who feels like his language arts teacher is a dinosaur. He doesn't allow computers in the class. Their homework has to be written out by hand. They can't do it at home and print it off. One day he needs a pen. He's rummaging through the family junk drawer and he finds a pen, but on the side of it is says Frindle. Finds out that this is something that his mom bought back when she was his age. And so he wonders and does some research onto the Frindle. And the kid who came up with the word Frindle looks an awful lot like this dinosaur of his teacher. So, how can Joe maybe use the secret that he's holding on to his advantage? You don't even need to reread Frindle in order to enjoy this lovely new book that's not what almost 30 years later. There is an antagonist. Well, Mr. N, as he goes by, is the language arts teacher, and he is way smarter than Joe gives him credit for. He is bold. And I think maybe that as an adult, I really like the fact that the teacher is so smart, but also lets Josh figure things out for himself and make some good decisions on how he should react to certain things. So I hope you enjoy the Friendle Files too. Just Keep Walking is about Jo. She's a girl. She's just turned 12 years old. And this was supposed to be the summer that she was going to hike 100 miles of the Superior hiking trail with her dad. But his mom and dad are now divorced. He has an Insta family that he wants to spend his time with. So he tells Jo, no, I'm sorry. I'm not going with you this year. And so Joe's mom decides that she will hike the trail with her, but neither Joe nor mom are really hikers. They prepare the best they can, but even before they hit the first mile, Joe is just about to ready to give up. But she does not want her dad to win as she sees it, so she decides to persist. Um, this is a really great look at man versus nature, but that's not really about what it's about. It's really man versus man, self versus self. While we do get a great authentic look at long trail hiking, this really is about Jo and her own journey of her soul. Lightboat 5. Now, you may have read Lightboat 12, but this is a completely separate book. Still the same SS City Benares when they are evacuating children from London to take them to Canada during World War II. The boat obviously gets hit by a German U-boat torpedo, but this time we are focusing on Bess and Beth, who have just met for the first time on this boat. Now the two of them are clinging desperately to an overturned lifeboat, number 5, um, trying to survive all night in the freezing cold water as even they see the adults who are around them giving up, succumbing, and slipping away into the ocean. Also written in free verse, you may know that this is not my favorite style for a book writing, but I'm not sure that my nerves could have taken an entire book in novel length. So the free verse makes it so that it is just enough, ratcheting up the tension, the drama, fearful for these girls' lives, and then seeing where it comes out on the other side. Select is the new book by Christy Matheson. This is about 12-year-old Alex who loves soccer. She's been playing on her rec center team since she was 5. She loves her coach. She lives with her baby sister Belle and her mom, who is very self-absorbed, very scattered. They're barely keeping things together. One day, a elite team coach comes to one of Alex's matches and convinces Alex's mom that she should be part of their elite soccer team. And Belle and her family, Alex and her family don't have much money. And so the coach says that he'll have her on scholarship and they'll take care of her. However, they only take care of things like her uniform and her club fees, not things like getting to games or getting home from games or taking care of Belle while Alex is at a practice and a game. Plus, the coach, who for the first time for Alex is a male coach, is very acerbic and domineering in his attitude, which goes right into outright hostility at times. So Belle and Alex are taking buses to get around the greater San Francisco area. Alex is dealing with this really unkind soccer coach, and she needs to find the courage to stand up to this coach and really say, so that everyone can understand it, that his behavior is not acceptable. It's great about single parent families. It's great about being there for each other, for standing up for yourself and not accepting bad behavior, abuse, even from an adult, which is what I loved about it. And I think that any girl that is on a team of some sort needs to know, even boys need to understand that it is not acceptable for having that kind of behavior from someone who you look up to and is in a position of trust. Shiny Misfits. Oh, sorry. Obviously I put these two books in the wrong order. New Powers Every 24 Hours is the first book in the Stupendous Switcheroo series, which there are actually three books out about now. So this is Switcheroo, and he does have superpowers, but he finds out this morning when he wakes up that he has the power of telekinesis because every 24 hours his power changes. So he decides that he's going to contract his hero and that this would be a good power to get him the job to be Vin Valor's sidekick. His mom's away on a business trip. He has a robot as a babysitter, and he is slipping out of the house in order to take on a supervillain of his own, so that Vin Valor will see how useful Switcheroo is to have as a sidekick. This is a doodle fiction kind of book that mixes well with the text. So for your kids who like the Diary of Wimpy Kids, this would be a good new one to send them at. Not full-on graphic novel, but doodle fiction. It's fast, it's funny, it's entertaining. Okay, next up we have Shiny Misfits, which is a realistic graphic novel. This is about Bella. She does have cystic fibrosis. I mean, she does have cerebral palsy, but that is just something that she has. It is not who she is. She wants to shine. So she is has submitted her tap show routine to the school talent show, and she is ready to win the show. And she does. But when Belle goes up to accept her trophy, she wobbles and almost falls. She's caught by a classmate. And now that is the only thing that everybody sees. They don't see Bayan and her winning the trophy. She only sees that someone else stepped up to save her when things go wrong because of this thing that she has, not because of what she is. Bayan is flogged, but um, she has angst because she wants to get clicks. She wants to go viral. She talks to her cat, who in Bayan's mind answers her in rhyme. And there is a really a teacher there who will make you smile. I love watching Bayan work so hard to be seen more for who she is, not for what she has. And then realistic. Our last one of our novels is Wild Wave. This is about Nick, who is in middle school. He is going to the local nature preserve because he has a final assignment to do before school gets out for the summer. He chose this particular nature preserve because Jess, who was a popular girl at school who he's very interested in, gives tours at the refuge. However, while they're there, the whole coast is struck by a tsunami. They have managed to see the signs. They try to yell out warning and they run as far as they can into the forest that's up next against the refuge in order to get out of the way of the tsunami. However, they don't. They are barely clinging to life as they're holding tight as they can to the trees. Okay, it's a lot to say, but as you're reading it, it all makes sense. It works well together. The two of them, I guess, I mean, you have to know, right? Because it's for upper elementary, middle school students that they survived the initial tsunami. But now they need to find their way out of a forest that not only is no longer recognizable, but is full of all kinds of dangers for them. And there's one part, I'm not going to tell you about it. You're going to have to read it in order to understand it and to love it. Now, now we have our nonfiction picture books. First up is Almost Underwear. This is about a piece of cloth that was originally supposed to become underwear back in the 1800s, but instead became the cover for the wings of the Wright brothers' first plane. Even after the plane crashes, the cloth was kept, eventually put into a museum, and now it is on its way to go not just to the moon, but to several other historic space flights. It's an excellent combination of storytelling and historic facts. There's even a little bit of science and the history of aviation. The pictures are very engaging and it's not too lengthy when it comes to the text. Glow Down Deep is another look at bioluminescent animals, but this one specifically is about animals that live in the ocean. So they are both bioluminescent or biofluorescent. And again, this one talks about reasons that they glow and it talks about ways that they hide, ways that they attract their mates, and even has glow in the dark pages, which will be super fun if you can kind of load up all the pages and then allow them to glow in the library as you're reading the book to your students. This one uses photographs so that you can really see the animals as they are and then see their bioluminescence. The iguanodon's horn is a look at our understanding of dinosaurs and how that has evolved since 1822 when the first dinosaur bones were discovered. Specifically looking at the iguanodon and what scientists thought it was look like when those bones were first discovered, he then takes us through how, as we discovered new things about the iguanodon's bones, then how that shaped what we then thought maybe this animal actually looked like. There is a lot of delightful humor within the books. There are very detailed illustrations. And so we get science, but then we also get the history of paleontology. I'm Trying to Love Germs. Yes, I know this is in the same series as I'm Trying to Love Spiders, but it was one of my favorites this year. So with the help of a talking germ, we get to learn all about microbes and pathogens and the way that they can help us or cause harm. There are 5 books now in the I'm Trying to Love series, and I really think that you need to have every single one of them. And I don't think that these books are just for elementary school. I think middle school and high schools can use them too. Now, Life After Whale. I know last year I just talked about Whale Fall as a beautiful nonfiction picture book about what happens to a whale after it dies. Who knew that I needed 2 books that talk about whale falls? But you do, because they go after they look at the topic in completely different ways, but equally lovely. Jason Chin's illustrations are gorgeous. And Lynn Brunel's text, which tells us the story of just one particular blue whale, gives us more information about whale falls and how important they are to the ecosystem on the ocean floor. Number Shocker is extremely clever, and we don't frequently get books about that deal with math or numbers in a way that kids are going to find them interesting beyond just doing their homework. So this is over the course of 13 2-page spreads. They talk about all kinds of different important numbers. How long has there been life on Earth? How many times are toilets flushed around the world? So this is not a math book. This is a numbers book, a statistics book, a fact book. A sure hit for all kinds of kids who like facts and curiosities. If they've read and reread your Guinness Book of World Records a million times, show them this one so that they can get a different look at interesting facts. Narwhal, the unicorn of the Arctic, looks at the narwhal because they are not frequently seen. They are frequently misunderstood. And so this particular book gives us a lot more interesting facts about this creature. Yes, there are list facts, but there is also a story that goes along with it so that we learn about its behaviors, where in the ocean, where in the world it is, depending on the seasons. There is much, much, much to learn within the pages of this. Some of the pages come off as dark, but those are the ones that are showing us when we're going down to the deep, dark recess of the ocean. Our Blue Planet is a picture book about Earth and many different things about it. It covers a little bit of climate change. It talks about the encroachment of city and how that deals with our wildlife, the importance of oceans and the predator and prey relationship. And it talks about things that we can do to make life on our planet better. This mostly looks at the oceans of the world and what we can do in order to save them and all the many creatures that inhabit them. Ready, Set, Run is the amazing story of the New York City Marathon. Not probably as well known to our students as perhaps the Boston Marathon is, but it has been going on for a very long time. So there's a little bit about the history of the New York City Marathon, but most of it engages on what it means to be a runner. And I think most schools still do 5Ks, so this would be a fun book to read along with getting prepared for a 5Ks. It talks about different ways that runners prepare. It talks about things that go on during the race or how long the race lasts. Lots of different questions are answered within these pages. There are also extra facts on every single page. So the book can be read in many different layers. And it does mention other countries around the world and where people travel from to just attend this very interesting and exciting marathon. Now, I know it's not Valentine's Day anymore. I wish I could have told you about this book face to face. before February 14th, but hopefully you read about it on the blog and already purchased this. This is about Esther Howland. It is her story and how she created the first Valentine's Day cards in America back in 1847. She was given a beautiful card by her dad when she was just 19 years old, and she loved it so much that she thought that giving each other cards would be a beautiful way to express our feelings for each other. So even though her family had doubts about it, she actually started the business of creating these beautiful cards with these sentiments on it, and it's a great way to learn how Valentine's and our celebration of Valentine's Day came to be. And then our last nonfiction picture book is When Nature Calls. Um, there are a lot of books about poop this year. I don't know why, but this is the first one that I'm talking about so far. This is about where animals go when they need to go. It is a very educational and hilarious look at feces. You may remember last year or the year before, I talked a bit about a book called Poop for Breakfast, which is by Sarah Levine. And these two would go very, very well together. Is more detailed than a casual reader may want to read, but the K3 audience will definitely love the pictures, and fourth grade and up will love all of the information in it. And yes, I would even suggest that you read it aloud with your students. Okay, let's move on to our picture books because picture books are so much fun. Okay, first up we have Buffalo Fluffable. This is about a very, very fluffy buffalo who is gruff and actually wants to be left alone. However, he is so fluffy and so cute that his neighbors just can't leave him alone. Um, However, when a storm hits and he becomes wet, he loses all of his fluff and now he's not sure who he is anymore. There, every page rhymes in a delightful way. Nothing is forced. There are silly words that the author uses, but there's lots of delightful color in the story also. Dog versus Strawberry. Dog's mom has given him a strawberry, and Dog is up for the challenge. The challenge, you say? Well, Dog sees the strawberry as something to race against. So I that's a terrible explanation of this really super cute book. For those of you who have pets, you may occasionally see your pet doing something that makes absolutely no sense to you, and that is exactly what this book is about. Sometimes our pets are having a really great time, and we have no clue what it is that they're actually doing. Dog's imagination and his antics are loads of fun. Another dog. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Shoot. Okay. How Dinosaurs Went Extinct is a safety guide by Amy Dykman. So, this is about a young child and their parents who are at the museum looking at dinosaurs, and the child is wondering how the dinos went extinct. Well, the dad has lots of answers. None of them are actually true, but that's okay because they are so much fun. Um, I'm gonna just let you see the cover, and that kind of clues you into one of the stories that Dad tells. But other than that, you need to enjoy Dykman's wacky imagination for yourself. How to pee your pants the right way. Okay, it's already happened. You peed your pants. Now what do you do? Now, this is a very real problem, and it is a very real terror of peeing your pants. And so Wilson uses a tongue-in-cheek approach to make the whole thing seem less stressful to someone that this may have happened to. It even refers to the fact that um, older adults who are trying to make things embarrassing for you, the young student, someday they're going to be having to worry about not peeing in their pants themselves. So this is a really great way to take away the sting of shame that a lot of kids will feel when that accident happens, and just make the whole thing fun and silly and remind us to be loving and supportive. I Can Be All Three is about a young girl who is getting ready for Multicultural Day at her school. However, she is a multicultural kid because her dad is from India. She loves tikka masala. Her mom is from Germany, and she also loves to bake schnitzel. But at school, the little girl loves to eat pizza and cheeseburgers, which is more of an American kind of thing. So maybe is there some way that she can express all three of her different cultural identities? I love that this looks at the fact that you don't need to be just one pigeonhole. You can be all of your different identities, enjoy being all the different parts of who you are. So I live in a tree trunk. Yes, you might think that this is a nonfiction picture book, but it's really not, but it kind of is. This is about all kinds of different animals and the kinds of places that they call home. So it's about animals that live in trees in one place, but animals that live underground on another page. So there's all kinds of things going on here. The text is a little bit of rhyming, but it's very gentle. It's barely noticeable. You're not going to be bursting into song while you're trying to read this book. The illustrations are absolutely adorable. In all ways, this is a delightful book to read. I'm sorry you got mad. Every single one of us has hurt someone else's feelings. This is about Jack. He has hurt Zoe, and he has to write apology. He tries many different ways, but his teacher keeps very gently asking him to try again until he can admit what he did and why it was wrong. Oh, so good. So good. Everybody in every age level, including adults. I wish I had had this book back when my children were young, because I would have read it to them many, many times, because isn't that one of the hardest things to do, is to get someone to apologize sincerely? Love it. It is a life lesson that is done in a way without being didactic and preachy. So good. I need several copies of this just for myself. Just try it. Kids have all kinds of food craziness going on in their lives. They don't want to eat something that feels weird, or they think might just taste weird, or it smells weird. So this is Lil and her dad who are at a food festival, and there are all kinds of new foods that she does not want to taste. But their family motto is just try it. And so we see Lil going through her bad behavior, stubborn phase, until she gives in and remembers that she has promised that she'll just try it, and learn, of course, that new foods can be delicious. Of course, there are kids who have texture issues or taste issues. But if you have a child who just needs to be encouraged to be more food curious, this can be a really great one to help. Look, oh my gosh. I have run out of time, and I am so sorry I haven't come anywhere close to being done. Now, if whoever is in charge of showing you this presentation wants to cut this off, that's fine. But I'm going to go ahead and I am going to finish doing this presentation. So if you have a chance to watch it later, you can hear me talk about everything. Okay, so Look by Gabby Snyder is a way to look at the world around you and notice all of the patterns that are part of the bigger picture. It is gorgeous, hand-built mixed media illustrations. It is lovingly created. It is about mindfulness. It is about being present. These are illustrations that you can stare at and sink into and explore every page. More Dung, a beetle tale, is about greediness. This is about a dung beetle who goes to stand in a certain spot every day where the gods, an elephant, gives him with a load of dung. However, he soon becomes very greedy, and his greediness becomes an obstacle to having friends. If you would like a story to teach your kids about not being greedy or a way to talk to them about greed without being preachy, then this is way more than just a very simple dung beetle story. The most boring book ever. Hopefully you've already seen this one. It's gorgeous. At its core, it's about a boy who sits on a chair, looks at the cloud, and thinks about laundry. So it'd be really fun with this book to read it to the kids without letting them see the pictures. And then read it to them a second time while they are watching what Kai Bushi has put into every single illustration. So clever, so much fun. My grandfather's song is about a boy who is being taught by his grandfather the beauty of the land around them, about the music that it gives off, about the gifts that it gives to us, about the animals that teach strength and courage, and even about how during a storm, we should still love the earth and the land around us, and how his grandfather calms him with a song. Let's see. I'm going to skip that one. The Spice Box is a great one about a girl who, about a child, because I actually don't know if Rishi is a boy or a girl, whose grandmother has come to visit them all the way from India, and with her, she has brought her special spice box, a family heirloom that has been passed from generation to generation. But it's not just filled with spices, it's also filled with history. Beautiful way to learn about the Indian culture, about the stories that we share from generation to generation, and learn about food and language. Take a Chance is about Bob, who has learned how to fly, but now Crow wants him to perch with him on a telephone wire, and Bob is just not sure that he wants to do this yet. So he makes excuses to leave, and then he goes and tries to find other friends, but everywhere he goes, he makes more excuses about trying to, so that he can try to avoid to learn how to do new things. I like this one about Bob because at the end, he always finally learns his lesson that we can be afraid, we can want reassurance, but taking a chance can also lead to many exciting, fun, and friendly things. Tala Learns to Siva. This is about young Tala who wants to learn how to do a traditional Samoan dance as beautifully as her auntie Sina. And she, of course, learns that practice is the first step that she needs to do, and then also express love and reverence to her ancestors so that the dancing that she does comes from her heart. Yes, I picked this partially because it's finally, a book about a Polynesian culture that's being put out by a mainstream publisher, but also because it really is an adorable, heartwarming book. The Umbrella by Beth Ferry is about a little girl who wants to go out in the rain, or does not want to go out in the rain, but her dog needs to go out right now because she can't do her business inside. So thankfully, they pass a shop that has something available for free, and it looks like the crumbling disaster of an umbrella, but it could be the beginning of just what she needs in order to conquer the storm. I love the fact that it's the umbrella that has the highlight on the page. There is some silliness to the whole thing, but it is awfully, awfully cute. A Very Cranky Book is the newest one by the couple Angela and Tony DiTerlizzi. This book does not want you to read him. He is going to spend as much of his time as he possibly can to not to convince you that you should just leave him alone. Don't read him. Maybe you can change his mind. The Dieterlizis use their wit. They use their skill when it comes to drawing. The illustrations are multimedia and they're fun to see. Make sure that you also pay attention to the background because there's a lot of fun to see in there too. The Voyage, another Polynesian story by a mainstream publisher. This is about a young woman who has been born for the sea and for adventure. She builds herself a boat. She decides to explore the world and meet new people. She is experiencing her life and finding freedom. The illustrations flow just like the ocean. They are colorful, reminding us how much depth there is to the color blue and the greens and all the world around us. It's an inspiration and it is a joy to read. While you're asleep, every animal in the world has congregated and prepared to send you off to sleep, peaceful sleep. Or are they? Maybe this is a sleepy time book, but maybe it isn't. You'll have to see. And then our last book is The Wrong Book. The yellow bookmark is in this book, and it is so mad. Why is the bicycle saying moo? Why does this elephant look like a firefighter? The bookmark is trying so hard to get everything right, but the narrator is not listening. So it's got itself a red pencil and it is ready to make all the corrections that's needed. Daywalt has done a great job of giving us another hilarious book to read. This reminded me of the book with no pictures, except that it has pictures. And there are so many silly mistakes, and everybody will want to correct them, and it is just grand to read. Sorry that took so long, you guys. I wish I could have been there with you today. I hope you love this. Please contact me. I really need more reviewers. I appreciate those of you who are in the audience who have been my reviewers, and are my reviewers for everything that you do for us. And I hope that my plan is to be with you again the next time we all get together.